Welcome to Midpoint Monday on 88.5 FM and WMNF.org. I'm Sean Canan. It's a historic week, and we'll touch on several highlights during the show today, including tomorrow's 2 Senate runoff elections in Georgia. We'll also hear about Wednesday's certification of the Electoral College results in Congress. Today, my guest will be Democratic Congressmember Kathy Castor from Tampa. As we begin the show, here's a public service announcement. Both Pinellas County and Hillsborough County have begun accepting vaccine reservations today. Information for Pinellas residents is being posted this hour at pinellas.floridahealth.gov. Hillsborough residents could sign up beginning at 9 this morning, though the website quickly crashed due to high traffic. Here's the website, hillsboroughcounty.org. Well, joining us now by Zoom is Congressmember Kathy Castor. The Democrat has represented the Tampa area since 2007. Before that, she was a Hillsborough County Commissioner. Castor is the chair of the United States House Select Committee on the Climate Crisis. Welcome back to WMNF's Midpoint Monday, Representative Castor.
Hi, Sean, and I want to wish you and all the WMNF listeners a happier new year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well. Well, I'm glad you can join us during such a very busy week. Yesterday, the new session of Congress was convened. Democrats have a slim majority in your chamber in the House, but the balance in the Senate rests on tomorrow's runoff election for 2 Senate seats in Georgia. What would it mean for your party to win both of those seats and to have Vice President Kamala Harris to be the tie-breaking vote in the Senate?
Yeah, there is so much at stake. Think about an increase to the national minimum wage that has not been increased for over 10 years. Think about what we have to do to unleash our clean energy future and tackle the climate crisis. We've got to do more on COVID emergency aid, and we know that Mitch McConnell has been a roadblock to moving emergency aid in a time frame that it's needed and at a scale that it's needed. Those are just a few of the highlights of what really is at stake in these Georgia runoffs.
Do you have any idea of what might happen? Have you looked at the polls? Any thoughts on what might happen tomorrow?
You know, I've had an opportunity to talk with some of my colleagues from the state of Georgia and ask them how they're feeling and how it looks, and they just say it's going to be very close. And I was curious, were they allowed to tabulate some of the early votes in advance, because that was such a problem after the November election. Many states were not permitted to, like we do in Hillsborough County, tabulate them early, not report the results, but at least get the process going. And they said that yes, they thought they were allowed to do that, but it's still in a close election. It still may not be decided that evening, tomorrow night.
Well, we're going to stay on Georgia for just a second. Over the weekend, there was an explosive phone recording that came out where outgoing President Donald Trump can be heard pleading with Georgia's election chief to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's win in the state. Trump suggests in the telephone call that the official find enough votes to hand Trump the victory there. What's your reaction to what you heard from the president in that phone call?
It's a morally repugnant. When I first heard it, like everyone else, I was taken aback that he's so blatantly dishonest, depraved, he's desperate. But to take it to this extent, really is so anti-democratic. And it's almost like, okay, we've come to expect that from our president. It's unbelievable. But what is truly troubling, how many members of Congress, how many Republican members of Congress are going to go along with this charade that borders on treason? I mean, you could argue this is treasonous. It's sedition. It's something that our founding fathers pointed out as sedition, fomenting a rebellion against your own government. So we intend to handle this with the dignity it requires, to ensure that folks all across America understand that this election was an election with integrity. And we want to thank all of the election workers. Boy, Hillsborough County again, and Craig Latimer really was a shining light. Isn't it interesting that they are not challenging the seating of Republican members from those same states? That the president thinks that there was fraud. So hopefully, we have 16 days left of this nightmare of the Trump.
We're speaking with Kathy Castor. She's a Congress member from Tampa. We've gotten a little bit of a frozen feed here. It looks like she's in her office in Washington, D.C. And I guess we're having some technical difficulties, but we'll bring her back on just as soon as possible. You're listening to WMNF Tampa 88.5 FM. Maybe what we'll do is since we've lost Representative Castor for at least hopefully just temporarily, what I'll do right now is I will play some of that tape of President Trump that we were just talking about. This is over the weekend. President Trump was speaking with the elections chief in Georgia about overturning the election. The call was the latest step in an unprecedented effort by a sitting American president to reverse the outcome of a free and fair election that he lost. Trump's conversation is with Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Here, we'll hear just a minute or two of that.
In Georgia, based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. You know, I mean, having a correct. The people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, you know, that you've recalculated.
Well, that's a little bit of what President Trump was saying over the weekend. And we have Representative Castor back with us, I believe. Hi, Representative Castor. I'm getting another frozen screen, unfortunately. And there's a message, in case you can hear me, that it says your bandwidth is low. So I don't know if you want to jump back on maybe without video, but we'll hear a little bit more of what President Trump was saying over the weekend.
Yes.
Oh, you're
Yes,
back now,
thank you.
Representative Castor. Can you hear us? Are you there? Well, here's a little bit more of what President Trump was saying.
We have won this election in Georgia.
Yes,
yes,
and it just turned my stomach to hear that
Brad. You know,
Trump
I mean,
bullying an election official of his own party.
And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, you know, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have, not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense.
We're going to try back again to see if we have Representative Castor. Are you there? All right, well, we don't have Representative Castor, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple of emails that have come in since the beginning of the show to talk about our conversation. This is WMNF Tampa, 88.5 FM. And Linda writes that about Trump and his followers. She says, have you noticed how Trump is always putting his fist up in the air, similar to Hitler with his hand in the air? Now, I just saw Ted Cruz doing the same thing. I guess they think that's going to help them. That's an email we got from Linda. Also, here's another email that came in from Troy. All callers seem to be forgetting the feedback loop that Trump lives within. He probably believes some of the junk that is inserted into the Trump media network. I think the term is hoisted. I'm not going to read that part. It's the snake eating its own tail, is what Troy writes. And we have another email from David. He is writing, I'm so proud. I'm a proud constituent of Kathy Castor, and I think she's represented Tampa very well in Congress. I was wondering if she could comment about Trump and his increasingly unhinged actions. Could we possibly get him out of office sooner than January 20th? Via the 25th Amendment is what David is asking. He writes, I think Trump is dangerous and should be deposed ASAP. So that's what David writes. And we're going to try one more time to see if we have Representative Castor on the line. Are you there, Representative Castor? Let me unmute you. I'm not able to. Are you able to unmute there? All right. Sorry about all the technical problems. Oh, there, you're unmuted now. Oh, there you are. Are you able to hear us? Great. I apologize for our technical difficulties, but we do have Representative Castor back on the line. Welcome back to WMNF.
Yeah, and I apologize, Sean, for the Wi-Fi here in the U.S. Capitol. You would think it would be better, but I really appreciate the comments of a lot of the callers. This, you know, we're facing a number of crises right now. Of course, COVID-19, we have a climate emergency, but we have a true crisis in our democracy that we have so many GOP members of Congress that are going to play along with this corrupt president. Unfortunately, no, I think we have to make it through these next 16 days and look forward to President Joe Biden, who has said he wants to work to bring this country together. But I tell you, we need to make it through this week first. And we have a plan to stand up for the Constitution on Wednesday when certain seditious GOP members bring objections to the Electoral College tabulation.
What plan are you talking about?
Well, we've discussed it in the Democratic caucus that we intend to focus on the integrity of the election. We're not going to replay the nightmare of the Trump presidency, the last 4 years. We want to look forward. This is really a ministerial function of the Constitution to accept the state tabulation of the Electoral College. The vice president will preside, and his role is simply to read the numbers that have been submitted from each state. One House member and one senator can submit a written objection. At that point, a member who wants to debate it, they get 2 minutes only to debate. It's a 2-hour limit per state, and our members who represent those states, we don't know which states are going to be challenged, but the members that represent those states will be prepared to address any misleading statements and any of the objections.
So there could be a delay, but it's unlike nothing major is going to happen. It's not going to overturn the results as they hope.
No, there is no way to do that. And so it may be a very long day on Wednesday, depending upon how many objections that they submit. We're anticipating it could go into the early morning hours of Thursday. But however long it takes, we're going to be here to stand up for the Constitution. The Democratic Party is united here in the Congress, and I think we will get a lot of Republican support. A lot of prominent Republicans have spoken out that what Trump and certain GOP members are trying to do is anti-democratic. It's something that you see in countries that are ruled by authoritarians and not a democracy. And kudos to them for standing up for our democratic process and our Constitution.
Our guest is Congressmember Kathy Castor. She represents parts of Tampa and Hillsborough County in Congress. And you're listening to 88.5 FM, WMNF Tampa, WMNF.org. Recently, the Congress passed and the president signed a COVID relief bill, the second one. The House passed 2 during the summer and fall, I believe, that the Senate just ignored. What's in the latest COVID-19 bill that people might not know about? Some people may have already gotten their $600 checks, but what else should people know about this one? And then afterwards, I'll ask you what comes next.
Well, I think importantly for the Tampa Bay area is the small business help through the Paycheck Protection Program. It was not perfect when it was first rolled out, but it was a vital lifeline to sustaining so many workers across our community. This time, the Paycheck Protection Program, we added a number of guardrails and are trying to target the money to the truly small businesses. The ones with 10 employees or less, especially, will receive help. There are going to be additional outreach